I know that song. Hey everybody, this is Marshall Titus with,
And this is Bente Faust.
and we're here talking about the S.A.L.L session.
Yeah, which were made in 2015.
Yeah, we started. Actually, I remember we had our first conversation with Michael, Mateus, and Julie in March of 2015, where the concept started before that, but we actually started recording in, I want to say, when did we start recording? Was it May?
I think May or June.
It was May, because I was out of town in June. I went to Chicago in June.
Oh, yeah. And I said to Marshall, hey, we have to put together a really cool band for this recording. I have this drummer in mind called Michael. And yeah, he's pretty good. And Marshall said, yeah, I know this guy. I play with him anyway. And so, and his brother, Mateus, dropped in, and Julie. So the band was together, and we had a couple of songs. Marshall.
Yeah, well, we first met because you were looking for, someone referred you to me because you were working on some demos for Kool in the Gang.
That's right.
And you had some songs that you wanted to check and see if the lyrics made sense in English, and you wanted someone to sing, wanted me to sing on it. So we did that, and that was back in 2014.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Anyway, so and then we started to write some songs together,
Right.
which were a little bit more in the like electronic direction, 90s dance stuff.
Yeah.
And it was really good fun. And then we had a couple of really good songs, and we had the idea, okay, let's make one CD together with your songs, like a Marshall Titus CD. So you had a lot of good songs. We looked through them, said, okay, maybe one or two of the new songs we're gonna put in a different, how can I say,
Different arrangement, yeah.
different arrangement, different sound. So we wanted to create a live CD.
That had acoustic and spontaneous kind of feel to it.
And we also started recording with tape. I mean, we didn't finish with tape.
Right.
But I did a setup here in the studio for the whole band, which is we were able to record everything live. So the vocals, guitars, bass, and drums all in one room.
And we recorded all 13 songs, or the basic rhythm section, in 6 days.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, which I thought was amazing. It was the first time that I had recorded a project like this, where the whole band was there, and I sang all the songs with the band in the room, and we just did it.
A special energy, I would say, and some of the songs the band even didn't know before.
Right.
We played it to them, and said, listen guys, this is the electronic version, but now we want to do acoustic live version, and they listened, figure out the chords, and then they just played it.
Yeah.
It took a few takes, and then everybody said, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And it was really
it wasn't over processed, and not too many vocal takes. I think I sang most of the songs all the way through without any pasting and chopping. So I think when you listen to this whole album, it is really authentic, and it's and amazing to me again that we did 13 songs in 6 days.
Yeah, definitely. We can listen to another song. It's already playing.
Just Three Wheels, yeah.
Yeah, here I remember we wanted to create a Motown-like sound, I would say.
Well, this song, I had this song for several years before I came to Hamburg, and I always I was never satisfied with the versions that I had, and so finally, it sort of just came together with this with the band, and yeah, I was really pleased with it. It has a sort of '60s kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember like I recorded for the drums. I opened the door of the studio and put some microphones in the hallway.
yeah,
They have this live reverb,
yeah, yeah.
natural reverb, which is a little bit like 60s sound, and I thought this track definitely needs some strings.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about this project for me. It was the first time I had used real strings or violin and cello, and which gives it another authentic kind of feeling as opposed to using synthesizers to do strings. And it was great to have. Just to be in the studio and watch, you know, what's his name?
That was Axel.
Yeah.
Was a guy on the violin, and Hagen played the cello.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I did a few demo arrangements, and at that time you were in Chicago.
Yeah.
So I sent you the demos, and you said, yeah, it's fine, do it. And then I called the guy, so I think we started with the cello, and that was really good work. I mean, sometimes guys said, this is not a cello line. It's more for a violin, because I'm not really, I don't know so much about it.
Yeah, but it came together really, really great, and yeah, just three wheels. And this is also a favorite of mine, a fan favorite, I think.
And I remember also this guy who played the organ on the tracks.
Was it Dominic? Or you're
No.
talking about Johnny Amako?
I think his name was Johnny.
Johnny Amako.
You weren't here at that time, and I think, and he came along, and that was pretty funny because he seemed to be a little bit. He was sitting in the back and playing with his phone, and I played the tracks to him, and I said, hey, maybe you want to listen to the tracks before you play it. And he was like, and yeah, cool, play it again, okay. And then he went over and did the whole song, the
that
whole
was Johnny.
arrangement.
That was Johnny.
And I was like, how could he done this? He heard the song
One
for the first time,
yeah.
and goes over and plays it perfect, you know?
Yeah.
He didn't need a second take.
Yeah, that was Johnny. Johnny's like that. He hears something and he can just, play it. But yeah, this is one. Well, I think all the songs on the album are my favorites. But
Yeah, there's another one.
these that were.
I remember that song. First, you were sure if we should really record this song, and I saw this session you did together with Julie on YouTube. Just a
The guitar
and vocal session on a sofa sitting in some living room, and I thought, wow, great song, and we definitely have to record this.
Well, this song is another song that came from while I was in Chicago, and I have the original version of this I recorded in Chicago with my co-writer and co-producer in Chicago, Keith Stewart, which I love the original version, but the thing about this version and that I wanted to capture with this was the live feeling, because before doing this album, Julie and I have been performing the song live, so it took on another feeling for me, and so the version on S.A.L.L. is more like, or feels more like when I perform it live.
Yeah.
And
I remember I wanted it to have a little bit of modern touch in there, So in the verses, we always have, for example, this side stick clap from Michael on the drums, and I put a lot of I don't know, claps and different kind of sounds and triggered that, so it's really bam, bam, and that gives it a little modern touch, I would say. And it's a cool mix then. A cool mix of live feeling and a little
touch
little
of
dancey sound stuff.
But it still sounds, at least to me, when I hear it, I love the energy of it, and it sounds like a performance. It doesn't sound overproduced to me.
No.
And it's another, I think, favorite of my audience.
Okay, so maybe to the next one.
Oh yeah, I love this.
Yeah, and here you can hear Irby.
Yeah,
He
some
also,
guitar.
we did some guitar overdubs with Irby from my old band, S.A.L.L. Böse.
Yeah.
And he's really good in this kind of guitar, electric guitar,
Rhythm, funky.
stuff, and he adds some really nice spices, I would say, to this song. Yeah.
And the song, this is another song that I had for a while. I wrote it while I was in Chicago, and originally had a different completely different kind of version or take on the song. And then even when we started working on the album, we had another version of this too that was very Daft Punk kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, remember that, but
I have to play it.
Send it to me.
Yeah, but it's really cool, and at some point I might put that version out. But this has a laid back feeling to it, and it's uncomplicated. This is an uncomplicated arrangement, and also I love this because when I perform it live, it still sounds like the record.
Yeah. It's pretty straight,
Straightforward,
it's not much of production or anything. It's just a good song.
Yeah. And I love the strings again. The strings add such a nice color and flavor and feeling to the song.
Definitely.
Yeah. What we have? What's next?
Now.
Now this is Benton Eyes, one of our early collaborations. This is another song that started, or we have another version that was a little bit more electronic.
Yeah, that's one of the songs we were talking about when we first met and decided to produce some kind of 90s dance songs. And
right.
That's a little bit of the leftover of that, and you can hear. I mean, here we did we played the original drums, I think, and or loops to the band with the headphones, and they played on top of it.
Right.
And then in the end, in the mix, I did a mix of the original loops and then the live drumming on top and a little bit of the synthesized bass and stuff like that. So this is a kind of...
And it still has, or it's a good combination of the live with the loops, and it sounds very much like a 90s kind of feel-good kind of record, which also in the sequencing of this album, because we didn't talk about I Believe. We can get back to that. But this it's a feel-good sort of party song, and it sits sort of in the middle of the album, so it's it really is a nice.
I definitely like this song. It's a really good mood track for Friday afternoon after work.
Yeah.
Should we step to the next one, or?
Yeah, let's. Now this Yeah, this is another product of Chicago and my good friend and partner in crime, Keith Stewart. Uh, he actually wrote this with me in mind, and I think I had this song. We had pretty much finished or had most of the songs for the CD, but then I said I'd really like to have this one on the record.
And I think here we did more or less the same thing. Like he sent me some files of the drums or
the whole track. I think.
the whole track.
Yeah.
We took some pieces of it, and the band
Played
on top of it.
Yeah.
And
So you get a combination of the original track or what was originally there, and the band, and I think Keith is you hear Keith on the background vocals, kept him, and so this is I love this track. It's
I think this is a really, you can call it a Chicago Hamburg bastard.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. But it fits good with like 4 a.m. and it follows that's the same energy, and then after Gotta Move, then the album turns. It shifts in its direction, and this is like a Lullaby is another song by way of Keith Stewart. He sent me, or since I've been living here, we've been keeping our collaboration strong just by sending each other tracks. And he sent me a track that he had no lyrics to, and if you were to hear what he sent me, it's like two worlds completely different from this, but it inspired me to write this. And then also around this time, I started playing guitar, so this is a song that's developed from me starting to play the guitar, and now I have this very folksy, like a lullaby.
And what I really like about it, or what my idea was during the recording, was to create a really stripped down song with just a few elements. And we also, like, for example, stripped down the drums. Like Michael, he had only the bass drum, but he didn't play it with a pedal. He just played it in a soft way, And then we put some tambourines on top, and
and I remember I was in Chicago still when you sent me what you had worked on, and I was listening to the track, and then in the second verse you added these flutes, and I was like, I forgot, I was with a friend of mine playing it. I was like, what's that? It was like such a surprise to me, because I had no expectation to hear anything like that, and it was like I was so excited because it wasn't too much. It was just a little bit, and it's like I'm like, wow. But it was a really nice surprise for me.
The idea to have in the second verse something surprising.
Yeah, and it lifted the song, and it didn't overpower the song, and it was just for the section, and it didn't return. And I was like, wow, I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
I love performing this song live too. Yeah.
Here it is.
So simple. Yeah. Okay, here's the classic. Even if. God, even though this is my CD, I love these songs, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this commentary, is because it's after it being 2 years, I still enjoy listening to this CD. And I know many artists, they say, well, once I record an album, I never listen to it again. I'm not one of those. I listen to it all the time, and I enjoy listening to it. And Even If is another song that I wrote several years ago in Chicago, and the original version, which there's also a single on iTunes of the original version, which is just vocal and piano or keyboard.
Yeah.
That was keyboards was performed by one of my favorite musicians in the world, Mike Logan. He plays with Michael McDonald and several others, and we recorded it in his home in December of 2010 in one take, and it's just we were just recording it. He played and I sang, and that was it. And it's that I love, but this version is a really refreshed version, and it's more like I perform it live when I started working with Julie, and with the drums and everything. It has such a big. It's still intimate, but it still has a big kind of feel to it.
Yeah, and I mean it develops the whole song. Right?
Yeah.
It starts pretty little, and in the end, it's pretty massive. So for me, this song is I would say, class. In a way, it's a classic, like a timeless piece of music.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
It's,
And the production again, it's clean, but it's really powerful. And the thing I love about it is that people really respond to this song and the recording, and
and also it has got a very positive meaning.
Yeah.
This song, like it's really for good times, for bad times, that
Yeah.
life goes on and there's always something, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Gives hope.
And that's my intention in Desire.
Okay.
And now after Even If, the album goes into another direction. This is another one of our collaborations.
Yeah.
I love
Tears and
Smoke. It's sort of apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Every time I think of it, it's very.
I always see a preacher standing there and having the
choir there.
yeah, but it's pretty rough also.
Yeah, it's raw. It's edgy.
Raw.
It's sort of rockish. It's cinematic. And I don't even know how I would categorize this song. It's soulful, but it has a little rockish edge to it.
Reminds me on Richie Havens.
Ooh. That's a good
that
comparison.
direction I would put it.
Okay, well that's a good comparison.
Yeah.
I love it. And the sound, it's edgy.
Yeah, and that was one of the songs, like the band didn't know that song, and within like 15 minutes they had this beat and the rhythm going on, and we said, this is
it.
exactly it. What's the purpose of this song?
Yeah.
Next one?
Yeah. And again, love this. This is another one of our songs that we did.
Yeah, that's I would say this is one of my favorites, or maybe the favorites.
This is your favorite?
Yeah, I really, because it's so, again, very edgy, and the band didn't know the song in the beginning, and they made something really cool out of it. And here we worked with like 2 drum sets.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have the main drum set, which is plays all this figure on the floor tom, and then the second drum set drops in this offbeat thing, and it's kind of dancey.
Kind of dancey. It's in Irby's playing this Western guitar kind of.
For me, it's like a James Bond guitar.
Yeah, and it has this drive. It reminds me of a old Western movie. I see the horses and the cowboys galloping. It's.
And again, we have the strings section here.
Yeah, and it has it's cinematic, and
it's very cinematic. So hear the same. It starts very little,
It's, you know, minimalistic and
minimalistic, and in the end it's really massive. and
yeah.
really-
Turn it up. Turn it up.
Blows you away.
Yeah.
They say waits for no one. Make sure your heart is strong now. White.
And I love, like, my background. Everybody knows just the way it turns. I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
the way it turns.
Very, very cool song. So,
The Zone. Yeah, this is another. Keith Stewart and I. We originally did this. The original version in Chicago, which is again completely different.
yeah. So how old is this song? I didn't know.
This song was finished in 2012, just before I came to Hamburg. We had finished Bees That Way and The Zone. And but after coming here and after performing it live with Julie just on the guitar, it took on a completely different life. And so now with this, the S.A.L.L version, it's just different, and people really respond to this song. It's one of my fan favorites. I call it. Yeah, and then what's his name on the baritone sax? He came in.
Johannes, yeah.
Yeah.
Play that? From my band?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was Joe. Joe was his name.
yeah, and that added such another flavor to the song that, you know, initially I would have never thought about, you know, it having
No,
a
that was Jan. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Did the saxophone section.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's really powerful. It's another powerful song.
Okay, and here we have With One Voice.
Yeah. Now this song I wrote. Well, what brought me to Hamburg was the Sing for Life benefit concert that my friend Byron Jones produced, and in the lyrics is "Sing for Life." I used that title in the song, but I wrote it as a theme song for the concert, and I'm really pleased with the way it came out. It's rockish. It's anthem. It sounds like I should be in a stadium performing the song.
That's like for the big stage.
Yeah, and when I do it, perform it live, that's exactly what the effect, because everybody's like waving their hands in the air, and it's really powerful.
Okay.
And
Last but not least,
Yes.
we have Send a Little Love.
the title, well, actually,
Which-
it is
yeah.
the title, and Send a Little Love is another product of Keith Stewart and I. He, I think I was here in 2013. Yeah, 2013. He sent me just a track of an idea, and this was the first song that I wrote while living in Hamburg, and I did an original recording version, a single version with Fritz Darius, which is a completely different approach to the song as it is here on the album. I slowed it down and made this version almost like a hymn or a dirge. It's very emotional, and it has Michael's playing this like military drum
Yeah.
field, and it's sad, but it's
It also gives you hope.
yeah, it's a really powerful song, and I thought it would be perfect as the last song for the album. And we didn't play the first song.
Yeah, should we do that?
We should. Which really, to me, when I think sequencing songs on the album are very important, and you know, this song I wrote and it's a rock. It reminds me of Lenny Kravitz. I always think Lenny Kravitz when I think of this song.
And here we have again Irby, and he plays this really mind-blowing guitar solo.
Yeah.
Which is more than over the top.
But that's what it needed. That's what it was supposed to have. But it's also a very affirming song, you know, and that's what I wanted, the statement I wanted to make as the first song. Yeah. So what, do you have any other thoughts about S.A.L.L or
It was, as I said, it was, it's still one of the greatest pieces of work I did, because it was such a good band. It was nice working with you guys, and I had so much fun. And I also could deliver some good ideas, I would say, and it was just really good fun doing this. And I try to do a lot of or use a lot of analog stuff, so this is not mixed in the box or anything. Mixed with the desk with all the old gear, so to give it a really tasteful sound.
Yeah, and you know, for those of you all listening to this, you can't really see the studio, but I think this album sounds like the studio. You know, the studio itself has a very lived-in kind of feel to it. It's you don't have to worry about bumping into something, and it has a life to it. And when I listen to this album, it reflects that. And I just have to say that I envision there being doing this album in vinyl, because the music business these days.
So this is the plan to put out some vinyls now, right?
Oh yeah, I think this has to. There has to be a vinyl version of this, and I also have to talk about the artwork, the cover. When I was doing this, I was like, what should the artwork be? And I wanted it to be very distinctive and timeless, and I met an artist here in Hamburg, Mark Frieden. I think it was like a year or so before I started working on the album, and he did what is now the CD cover, but he did that for me, and I was like, this would be the perfect cover, and I love it because it doesn't reflect any time. It could be now, 15 years ago, or 15 years in the future, so thank you, Mark Freebooth, for the artwork, and Julie Guitar Schmiedeberg on guitar that played on.
And the Grimm Brothers.
The Grimm Brothers, Michael and Matthias Grimm.
Irby, Johnny
and Marco, and
Jan, sax player,
and Axel
and Hagen.
Yeah. I had a great time making this album, and I believe that the world needs to hear it and love it as much as I do, and I think they will. Yeah. So thank you, Bente. It was really great working with you. We would come in here 6 days, in 6 days. That's amazing to me. And there was no arguments. It just all just flowed like water. So yeah.
And we're all into it. So
yeah.
That's what a good album needs.
Yeah. So everybody listening, thank you for listening. And if you haven't listened to the album, please do buy it, spread it around, share it, and visit me on marshalltitus.com. And Bente, where should folks find you?
The folks will find me on Off Your Tree.
Off Your Tree, yeah.
Yeah, the studio in Hamburg, Germany.
Good now. Thank you all, and send a little love.